Today we've got so much to talk about. We've got a warning for you about Princess's current promotion, if you can believe it or not, something I think you need to pay a lot of attention to. We'll also be talking about Norway, Egypt, Alaska, important information about CDC inspecting cruise ships, and lots more. So let's go ahead and get started. Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips. Today is Wednesday. It is April 16th of 2025. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please click on that subscribe button. And if you appreciate my updates, please give this video a thumbs up. If you're new around here, welcome. We're delighted to have you. We talk about cruising 6 days a week. And when we go somewhere, we take you with us. So let's start at the top talking about the news we've got out of Norway. So the Norwegian Maritime Authority has announced that their rules about zero emissions for the Norwegian heritage fjords are going to go into effect on January 21st of 2026 and January 1st of 2032. They're extending the date that this is going to go in effect because all of the zero emission technology is not quite ready to go for large ships. So if you are going to be sailing on a ship that is under 10,000 tons, then that is going to go in effect. It's got to be zero emissions starting on January 1st, 2026. But for the larger ships, that new ban of the ships that are not zero emissions is not going to go into effect until January 1st of 2032. So why am I telling you about this? It's because it opens up a window of time that we did not know was going to exist to visit some of these places. Granger Fjord, I've mentioned to you before, is one of the fjords that is going to be impacted by this requirement. And there are 5 fjords total in this one area, and I can't pronounce them, so I'm not going to, but one of them is the Granger Fjord, and it is one of 8 different Norwegian fjord areas that have been identified and named as UNESCO World Heritage Sites. And so with this not coming into effect until January 1st of 2032, it really opens up the opportunity to book some cruises to some places that we thought were going to close to some of the larger ships starting in 2026. So let me know if you're looking at going at any of these places. I'm going to go again. We went to the Granger Fjord on the Land of the Midnight Sun cruise back in 2018. So I'm going to look at doing a Norway cruise, I think, for a group probably in 2027, because I think that'll be a really nice time to go over the summer solstice there when the midnight sun is just at its peak. And so I will keep you up to date on that. But let me know if you're interested. Let me know. Does this excite you as much as it excites me? I just love to go see beautiful places, and I'm really excited about it. So let me know what you think in the comments. Next up, so I don't know about you, but I have noticed that anybody that talks about anything to do with cruise ships has weighed in on this news story that has been circulating so widely about saying that they're worried that the CDC is no longer going to inspect cruise ships and everything is going to, go to heck in a handbasket. And you know what? That is just not the case. I've done actually quite a lot of research. I've even talked to the CDC on the phone today, and really, really great conversation, by the way, really great conversation. The bottom line is there's a news story, I think is what most people have cut and pasted everywhere, that was first put out there by CBS News, and they said that the agency's ability has been gutted to inspect ships and carry out health inspections on board ships. Well, I've done a lot of research on this, and the people who were laid off were more of some of the support staff. Not all of the support staff, they reassure me, but some of the support staff. But the actual ship inspections, traveling the globe, going to see all of these different ships, was actually conducted by their commissioned officers, and their commissioned officers have not been let go and are not going to go anywhere. So a couple of notes that I think are really important to think about with this. First of all, they are still going to be doing the cruise ship inspections. So it's not like cruise ships are going to suddenly get away with something that they shouldn't be getting away with. Number 2, just because a cruise ship shows up on the CDC website and has had to report the number of norovirus cases that they have had does not mean that an officer actually came on board and discovered those cases and called up and said, this is what we found here. No, the cruise lines actually have to self-report on that, and they do. They are required to do that, and then that is a requirement that they fulfill. So I thought that was a really important distinguishing factor to make sure that everybody knows out there. And then the last thing is, I think it's really important to note, I do not want the CDC to quit inspecting cruise ships. I think that's very important. At the same time, cruise ships themselves, the people that run the cruise lines, the officers on board, they are really careful about cleanliness. They really and truly are. They want their crew to be healthy. They want their passengers to be healthy. So the last thing that I wanted to leave you with is, as I was doing my research, is a quote by CLIA, the Cruise Lines International Association, that really they are a really important part of keeping an eye on cruise lines and everything to do with that. The vessel sanitation program, which is voluntary and funded by the cruise industry, so the cruise industry is who pays for that, will continue to operate. Public reports have noted that the program is administered by and staffed by primarily commissioned U.S. public health officers. So I think we're safe. I think everything will be okay. I think in seeing what's going on here, we don't have to worry that there will be more sickness on board a ship than there would have been. So let me know what you think in the comments, would you? But I was just thinking it was really important to talk about that. Alrighty, what do I have to tell you about Princess's brand new promotion? If you look at their website, right there it says $1 deposit, and then there's, the little asterisk type thing so that you know that you have got to read all of the terms and conditions. So here is what is really, really important to note. So you can book your cruise anytime between April 15th through the 18th, so that's just through Friday, and get to do a $1 deposit. So you put in your $1 deposit and that booking is held for you. However, it's really important to note that you have to make the full $99 deposit, so pay your other $98 per person on the booking within 30 days, or that booking is going to be canceled. This is new with Princess. I don't think I have ever seen Princess do this before. Doesn't mean they've not. It just means that I've not seen them do it. So you get to put down your $1 to hold it, and if you don't pay the rest of your deposit within 30 days, like I said, that booking is gone. I have seen Holland America do this, and so apparently they're sharing ideas here. And so if you book a cruise on this promo and you pay that $1 deposit, make sure that you follow up and do the rest of the deposit within 30 days. If it were me and everything I'm doing, pay the full deposit now so that you don't forget. It is refundable. If you book it as a refundable deposit, then it is going to be a refundable deposit. But I think that's really important. The other things that go with this promo is what we have been seeing this whole season as far as promos have gone. They say 3rd and 4th guest sail free. And so that does apply to applicable bookings. And if you do that, of course, they still have to pay their taxes and fees and port expenses. If you want insurance for them, you have to do the insurance. But they at least do still have to pay their port fees and taxes, but it would be the cruise fare portion that would be included. And then the other really important distinction is they talk about the stateroom upgrade. I really like how they laid it out in the terms and conditions on this promo. So I want to tell you, it says, the upgrade offer applies to booking the stateroom. Of course, you find booking the stateroom that you want, and then you pay the price of the lowest non-guarantee category within the stateroom type. So say you want to book a midship balcony on a cruise that this applies to. It doesn't apply to all cruises, but on a cruise that this applies to, that means you would pay the fee for the balcony that would be the lowest fare other than the guaranteed one. So basically, it helps you save a little bit of money. I am going to tell you it does not apply to all categories, and so you just kind of have to look at the cruise that you're looking at booking, see how much it costs, and when you go to book it, it's not like you go through the booking process and then suddenly at the end they're going to subtract a bunch off. The prices that they show you already include what is given for the upgrade, the price savings by this upgrade part of the promo. So let me know if you've got questions about that. I thought that was kind of interesting, but I wanted to let you know about that. So don't just put $1 down on your booking and then forget, okay? You have to remember to do that. Next up, the other day I talked to you about Alaska, and somebody was nice and put a comment there. It says the White Pass and Yukon Railroad is partially owned by Carnival, like the Carnival Corporation. Indeed it is. That's been that way for a really long time, and they were pointing out maybe that's why they don't lower the ticket prices. As someone who studied business in school, why would they drop the ticket prices? If you can run a train full of people at X dollars, why would you ever sell some tickets at X minus 10 or whatever, right? Because you can fill up your train. And so I think that's just the way it is. If you want to ride the train, just pay how much it is. And if you don't want to pay that much, don't ride the train. That's kind of how I decide things in our life when we're looking at travel things. If something costs more than we want to spend, then we just don't do it. And if we really want to do something, then we pay the money and away we go. But I thought that was really important, and I appreciate, I can't remember now who brought that up. Thanks for bringing it up. A couple of you did. I really appreciate that, so that everybody knows what's going on. It's interesting to look at how the docking works when you go to Alaska, because some cruise lines own some of the docks. It's like when you Ketchikan is what I always think of. When you come into Ketchikan, Norwegian is clear down. You're going to have to take a shuttle to get down to the central part of town, whereas Holland America and Princess just pull right in there. And so there is some variety on what you get on which cruise line you sail with, but you know what? You get to go, and it's wonderful no matter which cruise line you go on. It's absolutely splendid to visit Alaska. So I just wanted to make that distinction for you. Another quick note, though, I hadn't really thought of to tell you this, but remember I told you about that. There's that volcano there at Mount Spur, which is about 60 to 80 miles, depending on how they measure that distance from Anchorage, and they're having more earthquakes around that volcano. It is still having a lot of, emissions coming out of it, but there have been like 55 earthquakes counted just within the last week for sure. So everybody is speculating, is it going to erupt soon? So we'll keep our eye on that for you and let you know anything we hear about that. Finally, this is a big deal. Here's a lot we have to talk about together. So in Egypt on July 3rd, this year, 2025, the Grand Egyptian Museum in Giza is going to open up. This is really, really big news. They have been working on this Grand Egyptian Museum there by Giza, by the pyramids there. They have been working on it for like 2 decades. So this is a really big deal that it's going to finally open. So a little bit, my understanding is a little bit of it's been open, that they've got some of the artifacts there, but King Tut and his treasure, everything that goes with that, is still there at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo's Tahrir. I'm not sure how to pronounce that correctly, Square, and they are going to stay there until they're ready to relocate them over. But July 3rd is the day it's supposed to open and have King Tut's treasure, everything over there. It's a really big deal. That is a huge, huge museum complex. I was really interested. It spans 120 acres. So between the actual structure and the area that is included with it, it is spectacular. So when we get to go on our Nile cruise that we're doing with the Eclipse in 2027, we get to go there. That's part of it. And I'm sure that we'll go visit other places as well. But I am so excited to go see this. And so let me know in the comments, have you been to Egypt? Do you want to go to Egypt? I have this feeling that Egypt is just going to steal my heart. I love that region of the world anyway. And I, back when King Tut's treasure, the part that they allowed to tour the world was touring, I got to see it in Philadelphia and in Seattle. And so what a magnificent experience that was. So I can only imagine what it would be like to get to see it in the museum there. So I just thought I would tell you about that. If you want to go to Egypt, you want help with that, I'm delighted to help you. And if it does steal my heart the way I think it's going to, we're going to have to all go again another time. Thanks for joining me. It is such a pleasure to be with you. And I'll be talking to you all again really soon. You all take really good care. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.